Rivian just shocked Wall Street with numbers nobody saw coming. Wall Street analysts thought Rivian would barely survive this year. Instead, Rivian delivered their best quarter ever by a huge margin. Every major metric beat expectations, including deliveries and gross profit. The stock jumped immediately because investors finally saw real momentum. This is not the same Rivian from 2 years ago at all. That older Rivian was burning cash and struggling to scale production. This new Rivian is making smart decisions and gaining real traction. And in the middle of all that good news, something unexpected happened. Rivian quietly spun off an entire AI and robotics company called Mind Robotics. Yes, every major car company apparently needs a robot division now. Tesla has Optimus, and Rivian now has Mind Robotics competing directly. The race is no longer just about electric trucks or SUVs anymore. It is now about software, autonomy, and humanoid robots too. If you bought Rivian stock recently, you might finally be happy. If you bought during the IPO, you know the road has been painful. But the story has completely changed from survival to aggressive growth. The question now is what Rivian becomes in the next few years. At the center of that future sits one vehicle, the R2. People have been waiting for the R2 more than any other Rivian. Let me walk you through what we now know about this car. Rivian recently gave us genuinely important new details about the R2. When they first unveiled it, they promised 3 different powertrain options: a single-motor rear-wheel drive, a dual-motor all-wheel drive, and a tri-motor performance variant for people who want insane speed. 3 tiers with different price points and different performance levels. Something for almost every type of electric vehicle buyer out there. The big question was which version Rivian would launch with first. I had a very strong prediction about that launch strategy, honestly. I genuinely thought Rivian would open with the expensive tri-motor first. That would chase premium buyers and maximize early profit margins. That is exactly the playbook Tesla used with the Model S and X. Start expensive, build brand prestige, then work your way down later. It made logical sense for Rivian to follow that same successful path. The tri-motor R2 would be insanely capable and incredibly powerful too. Rivian could easily justify charging $70,000 or more. Die-hard Rivian fans would line up and happily pay that price. It would have been a high-margin launch vehicle with strong demand. I thought that was the obvious smart move for Rivian to make. I was wrong about this, and I am genuinely happy about being wrong. Rivian is actually launching the R2 with the dual-motor configuration first. Not the most expensive option, and not the cheapest option either. They are starting right in the middle of their planned lineup. All-wheel drive, solid performance, but not the crazy tri-motor beast. Rivian was very clear this is not a stripped-down, bare-bones version. They described it as adequately equipped or moderately equipped with features. Real quality, real materials, and a real Rivian driving experience throughout. That is actually a very smart and mature decision from their team. It tells you a lot about how Rivian thinks right now as a company. They are not chasing hype with the most extreme, expensive variant. Instead, they are building a sustainable and scalable business model. The dual motor is also the configuration Rivian knows better than anyone. Most of their current vehicles, like the R1T and R1S, are dual motor. Their best-selling configurations have all been dual motor for years. They have refined this setup and learned its limits completely. They know how to tune it and how to optimize it perfectly. They are confident in what the dual-motor system can deliver daily. A tri-motor system on a brand new platform is a different challenge. It requires new motors, new calibration, and new performance modes. That takes more engineering time and more validation and testing. By launching dual motor first, Rivian is making a disciplined, smart call. Less risk, more confidence, and better margins from day one. Now let me tell you about the motors, because this surprised me too. The R2 is not using the same motors from the current R1 lineup. Rivian built a brand new drive unit specifically for this vehicle. They are calling it the Maximus Drive Unit, which sounds very confident. That name alone tells you this is not a leftover carryover part. This is engineered from the ground up for the R2 platform only. New platform, new cells, and a completely new drive unit altogether. The R2 is truly a clean sheet vehicle in several important ways. Now let us talk about the battery, because that matters for range. The R2 will use 4695 cylindrical cells, which are larger format ones. These cells are bigger than what Rivian currently puts in the R1. For now, Rivian is importing those cells from South Korea temporarily. That is a short-term supply chain decision to keep things moving, but they have already confirmed that starting in 2027, they will source those same 4695 cells from inside the United States. That switch matters for more reasons than you might initially think. It simplifies the supply chain and reduces logistical complexity significantly. It also supports the structural battery pack design Rivian is using. Fewer parts mean cleaner integration and better manufacturing efficiency overall. The long-term production picture looks increasingly solid right now. The foundation being laid here is genuinely impressive for a young company. Now, let me talk about the single-motor R2 configuration specifically, because that is the version most people are actually waiting for. The single-motor R2 is the one Rivian teased at $45,000. That price point could truly open up Rivian to a massive new market. It would reach people who could never afford an $80,000 R1. But here's the thing. Rivian has never sold a single-motor passenger vehicle. Not once in their entire history as an automaker has that happened. Their delivery van uses a single-motor setup, but that is commercial. Commercial vehicles have entirely different requirements than personal cars. For the R1 lineup, every single variant has been dual motor or more. Single motor just has not been their focus or their expertise yet. That tells you launching a single motor R2 is not simple at all. It requires its own engineering work and its own performance tuning. It needs its own validation and real-world testing on public roads. My honest expectation is that single-motor R2s will come last, after dual motor is ramped up and running smoothly without issues, after the tri-motor launches and gives Rivian a premium halo model. Then only then does the $45,000 single motor arrive, and even then I expect the actual launch price to start higher, maybe $47,000 or $48,000 to begin with. Then as manufacturing scales and costs drop closer to that magic number. That is simply how this industry works with new vehicle launches. The headline price is a target, not always a day-one reality. Now about the launch edition. Rivian has not given official pricing yet, but based on everything we know, we can make an educated guess. My personal prediction is the launch edition dual-motor R2 starts around $60,000. Think about how Tesla handled the Model Y launch edition a few years ago. Premium positioning right out of the gate with exclusive features and colors, limited edition paint options and interior choices not available later. Rivian will likely do something very similar with the R2 launch, create urgency and exclusivity around the very first wave of buyers. Those early adopters get something special for being first in line. They also pay a premium for that privilege, and that is the deal. Once launch edition inventory is fully absorbed by eager buyers, you would expect a standard dual-motor R2 to come down in price, probably around $55,000 or maybe $54,000. Still all-wheel drive, still fully capable, but without exclusive cosmetic touches. Then Rivian might do something interesting they already do with R1. Software-tiered power, where the same hardware has different performance levels. You pay more and you get more acceleration and more power instantly. You pay less and the same motors run at reduced output forever. That move is controversial because consumers genuinely hate paying for owned performance, but from an investor and business perspective, it is pure genius. Software revenue has almost no cost attached to it at all. You build the hardware once and sell it multiple times through software. Margins improve dramatically, and shareholders absolutely love this model. It is recurring, scalable, and directly tied to vehicles already sold. Rivian has clearly signaled they want to be seen as a software company, not just a car company, following Tesla's footsteps on this front. That strategy makes complete sense, even if it frustrates some buyers. So there could be a $60,000 Launch Edition R2 and a $54,000 standard R2 with identical hardware underneath. The only real difference would be software cosmetics and exclusive options. That is exactly where this pricing strategy is heading for Rivian. Now let me talk about range, because everyone asks about range first. I expect the dual-motor Launch Edition R2 to land between 300 and 330 miles of EPA-rated range realistically. I do not think Rivian will push for 350 miles or beyond. That is not the goal for this first variant at all. The goal right now is hitting strong profit margins on affordable manufacturing. Chasing maximum range means bigger batteries, more weight, and more cost. More complexity too, and that fights the mission of profitability. Rivian is trying to build a profitable business, not a range record holder. That means making smart compromises, and range is one of them. 300 miles is genuinely more than enough for most daily buyers. It covers the vast majority of real-world use cases without anxiety. And honestly, if the driving experience and software are strong enough, most people will not be upset about 300 miles of range. What might frustrate some buyers is the charging speed, unfortunately. And here I have to be upfront with you. Do not expect miracles. The R1 lineup is not known for particularly fast charging at all. The charging curve on those vehicles is not impressive compared to rivals. The 4695 cells that the R2 will use are not known for exceptional thermal management. Their peak charge rates are also not class-leading by any measure. So if you hope the R2 charges from 10 to 80% quickly, temper those expectations right now to avoid disappointment later. It will likely be competent but not class-leading in charging speed, maybe around the same level as current Rivian vehicles at best. That might be a genuine pain point for some potential buyers, but I think Rivian has deliberately made that trade-off consciously. Better charging speed requires more engineering investment and battery complexity. It also likely adds more cost per vehicle to the final price. That cost either eats into profit margins or gets passed to consumers. Neither outcome serves Rivian's current mission of reaching profitability soon. Once they are truly profitable and the R2 line runs at full scale, they can revisit charging speed in future iterations of the vehicle. For now, good enough charging, plus strong driving experience, plus compelling price, that is the winning formula that Rivian is betting everything on. Now, let me tell you what the R2 means for Rivian as a brand. Right now, Rivian is beloved by a passionate but relatively small niche, the kind of buyers who spend $80,000 or $90,000 on a vehicle. Outdoor enthusiasts, adventure-minded professionals, and early technology adopters. People who genuinely love what Rivian stands for as a purpose-driven company. The R2 changes that completely by entering a massive new price segment. At $55,000 or $60,000, Rivian reaches millions more buyers. This is where the real volume lives in the automotive industry. This is where Tesla has dominated with the Model Y for years. A compelling R2 at the right price could pull buyers from Tesla. Rivian has the brand authenticity that Tesla has somewhat lost recently. People actually trust and love Rivian's identity without the political baggage. If the R2 delivers on its promise, this is not just a product launch. It is a full transformation of the entire company into a mainstream player. Rivian goes from being a niche premium brand to a serious global automaker. That is exactly what Rivian leadership has been quietly telegraphing for years. The R2 is the vehicle that makes Rivian truly legitimate and scalable. Not a startup anymore, but a real profitable automaker with loyal customers. There is also the R3 to consider as a smaller, more affordable model. Rivian has teased the R3 sitting below the R2 in price and size, but the R3 only makes sense once the R2 is fully up and running, and once the business is genuinely profitable at a sustainable level. You cannot build a cheap vehicle if your expensive one is not profitable. The R2's success is the absolute prerequisite for the R3 existing at all. The chain matters here. Good earnings lead to profitable R2 production. Profitable R2 leads to a scaled R3 with lower manufacturing costs. Scaled R3 leads to true mass market reach for the entire brand. That is the roadmap, and after this earnings report, it looks believable. Rivian also gave us a timeline update on the configurator and pricing reveal. That is coming in early 2026 with a full event. They will walk through all configurations, all specs, and all pricing tiers. That is when we finally know exactly what you get at each price point, what you sacrifice, and what you keep across different versions. Does the $45,000 single motor have a smaller battery? Very likely yes, probably with around 250 miles of range. Does it still have Rivian's excellent software interface and camera system? That is the question I really want answered more than anything else. Here is where Rivian's AI ambitions could actually work in consumer favor. If Rivian wants to be a software and autonomy company, the cameras matter most. Tesla includes their full self-driving hardware on every single vehicle. Even the cheapest Model 3 gets all the cameras and computers. The revenue comes from selling the software subscription on top later. The hardware is simply a cost of doing business for Tesla. Rivian might follow that same smart logic with the R2 lineup. Include the best camera array and computing hardware on every R2 variant. Even the $45,000 base model gets the full hardware suite, because that hardware is the foundation for every future software revenue stream. That would be the smart long-term play for Rivian to make. That is how you build a loyal customer base who upgrades software over time. Rivian's camera placement on the R1 vehicles is genuinely excellent right now. Better than most competitors in the electric vehicle space by far. Their software design is clean, intuitive, and improving with every update. If they carry those strengths into the R2, the tech experience alone wins. That is the kind of advantage that makes someone choose Rivian over Ford, or over Hyundai or Kia, or even Tesla in some cases. Not just the brand identity and not just the adventure aesthetic, but the software actually being delightful to use every single day. Now, there is one area where Rivian genuinely needs to improve as they scale. That area is service and repair for existing and future owners. Talk to almost any Rivian owner online and the same complaint appears. Service wait times are far too long for a premium brand. People wait months, not days, not weeks, but actual months. Months just to get a windshield replaced or a minor repair done. That is a brand-damaging problem when you have a small, passionate customer base. Multiply that demand by 5 or 10 times with R2 production volume, and you have a serious operational crisis forming very quickly. Rivian must scale their service network in parallel with production increases. It cannot be an afterthought or something they fix later. Mobile service vans help, and they have invested in that solution. But bricks and mortar service centers need to expand rapidly too. The best vehicle in the world loses appeal when repairs take months.